The International Cricket Council as well has announced the 12 venues across South Africa, Zimbabwe as well as Namibia that will host the 2027 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. Now 8 venues across South Africa, 3 in Zimbabwe and 1 in Namibia's capital Windhoek will host matches during the tournament. The 50-over competition returns to Africa after 24 years. In 2003, South Africa, Zimbabwe and Kenya hosted the 8th edition of the Men's Cricket World Cup. Now set to host the world's top 14 teams, the 3 host countries are united by 3 nations, 1 heartbeat brand, celebrating a spirit of optimism, diversity and community. Now to talk to us about the tournament, we've roped in the chairperson of the Local Organising Board, Mr. Trevor Manuel. Trevor, a very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning to you, Vusiwe, and good morning to all your viewers. Thank you for being up in the cold this morning.
Thank you for being up in the cold. First, perhaps just before we talk about what happened last night at the launch as you introduced the identity of the tournament to the whole world, talk to me about when you think about the SABC celebrating 90 years and what that 90 years has looked like from a sport point of view. What would you say is one thing that stands out for you?
Memory and connectivity over long periods is an interesting challenge, because the SABC is a very different institution from that which brought you Springbok Radio. And I mean, look, I'm young enough to remember when TV was introduced in 1976, and what then Minister Herzog had promised about what would go wrong to everything in the nation once this evil was there. So there have been very significant changes. I mean, we want to celebrate continuity over 90 years, but there's actually been major discontinuity. It's quite important to recognize that as well. And there's an ongoing challenge because there's been significant convergence in all broadcast platforms, and it's a very expensive exercise. So much of broadcast is privatized in the world at the moment, so it's an ongoing challenge, and we recognize that public broadcasters have a very particular role to play. You've seen just recently in the US that President Trump tried to take apart Voice of America and National Public Radio, and the courts have put it back in, and I think we must celebrate SABC also in the face of what is happening to broadcasting internationally.
And of course this morning you're here to talk cricket and the Cricket World Cup. Let's talk to last night, of course, the big launch introducing the identity of the tournament, looking at the host cities where people will get to watch some of the best cricket that the world has to offer.
I think that it's a very significant opportunity. I mean, memory, the last World Cup that we hosted was 2003. There have been others. There's been the Women's World Cup, there's been T20, but the 50-over World Cup is, of course, the benchmark event, and we're privileged to host it along with Zimbabwe and Namibia next year. And so we look forward to it. I think that over the last period, South Africans have been more tuned to the joys of cricket, and I think that the SA20s is a great asset in this regard. The stadiums are ready for the World Cup, but people are attracted to cricket, and it's no longer that fuddy-duddy old sport to gentlemen playing in white. It's a very different game, and that's what we look forward to hosting next year.
And when we talk about looking forward to hosting next year, let's talk about the Victoria Falls Stadium, because a very interesting and exciting one. Will this just be for the tournament, or perhaps is there a bigger picture when it comes to utilizing the stadium after the tournament?
Look, I couldn't tell you this in detail, but I have a sense that Zimbabwe wants to move a lot more activity to Vic Falls as a new development node. The stock exchange has moved from Harare to Vic Falls, the primary stock exchange now, and also gives Zimbabweans greater proximity, because across the river you in Zambia, and I think that this stadium is part of the the development node. So, I mean, the other great thing about Vic Falls is the proximity to the falls themselves, but also to game parks right there. So it's going to be a very exciting addition to the stadiums. The ICC will be out here in September to assess the readiness of that stadium. And from the Zimbabweans, it's all systems go. So we look forward to that in addition to Bulawayo and Harare.
I want to touch on, before we run out of time, when we look at the format of the tournament, slightly different. Talk to us about the thinking around that, and let's also touch on pricing in terms of affordability for people to be able to watch games across the 3 countries.
Well, let's talk about the pricing first. I mean, I think it's quite important that we recognize that a lot of the costs are in US dollars, but a lot of the domestic spend will be in rand. And it's quite important for us to take a long view on the World Cup. And the long view must be about ensuring that more South Africans, more Southern Africans, and more Africans have access to the game. A lot of these issues are dealt with by the International Cricket Council, whose president was with us yesterday. But I think we must say to people in the region that the LOC will represent your voices to ensure that ticket prices are affordable. We also will debate the issue, and it's a hard issue, of fan parks. Now, fan parks are okay for a 2-hour game. It's a lot more difficult for a 9-hour event, such as each game in the World Cup will be. But we're happy to apply our minds to what we can do, because building popular sport, as we've seen the possibilities with shorter versions, such as T20, is possible and will be done. People must look to us and say, we're open to take these matters forward.
Certainly looking forward to it. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and for your time, of course. So building up to the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup that will be taking place across South Africa, Zimbabwe, as well as Namibia. And of course, this was the chairperson of the Local Organising Board joining us to talk all things leading up to the massive tournament. 24-year waiting it's been for the African continent, and our time to shine is now.